Fox News can now project that President Obama will win the crucial battleground state of Ohio, long considered to be the harbinger for the nation with its 18 electoral votes. Ohio, this was the entire ball game.
Fox News anchor Brett Baer there reporting the crucial call for the presidential race in Ohio on Tuesday night. A few minutes later, Fox News Sunday anchor Chris Wallace got some reaction from political strategists Joe Trippi and Karl Rove.
If you look at some of these counties that are still left out there, there are votes, a lot of votes left for Obama that could outnumber some of these suburban counties.
That not has.
Well, but if the decision desk has looked at those and is looking at key precincts in those counties and projecting, that's what they do. And they may, we haven't been able to go in and do that yet.
Karl?
Apparently, the website is now being crashed because they can no longer refresh it. But look, I don't know what the outcome is going to be. But we got to be careful about calling things when we have like 991 votes separating the two candidates and a quarter of the vote yet to count. Even if they have made it on the basis of select precincts, I'd be very cautious about intruding into this process.
Well, folks,
Thanks.
so maybe not so fast.
Thanks a lot.
Karl thought the call had been made too early. That was his point. The media reaction was astounding. Headlines like meltdown, civil war, Rove rejects reality. The New York Daily News said Karl was raving mad. You were...
It's Fox derangement
you were part of,
it really, truly
you were part of the
Fox
coverage that night.
Syndrome.
I thought Karl was perfectly reasonable.
It's one of the things that's great about Fox is that people are allowed to express what they're thinking. It's not actually controlled by other people, like everyone thinks that, that there's somebody behind the scenes whispering in everybody's ears. That Karl was able to say what he thought. It was able to play out on TV. It was interesting. It was compelling television. No one was melting down. There also was coverage about all these sad faces. I don't know what they're talking about. Of course, when you bring on Sarah Palin, who's a dyed-in-the-wool Republican, I'm sure she's disappointed, but most people were having a perfectly good time.
Judy?
Right, and I also think that Fox turned it into a great moment of TV. As you said, it was terrific television when you had Megyn Kelly go back to the decision desk.
That was a great
to say, do you stand by this call?
Right.
And in fact, they did, and that's what news organizations do when they have character and backbone.
This is video, in case you weren't watching that night, this is video of Megyn leaving the set and strolling the 50 or so yards to our decision desk where, she found out that they did disagree with Karl at that point in the evening, and they were backing up the call for Ohio.
And then they brought on Michael Barone and had Karl together. I thought it was very compelling television to let everybody make their case.
The media tried to insinuate, many liberal media tried to insinuate that somehow Karl was manipulating our decision desk when in fact it just proved that he's an independent voice.
Right. Look, I agree with it. It's part of this Fox derangement syndrome, and it's further the unique hatred that a lot of people in this country on the left have for Karl Rove personally, and the chance they thought to kind of poetically link up Florida in 2000 to Ohio in 2012, and they didn't even care what the reality was. They wanted to sort of make it into, as you said, a meltdown or a nervous breakdown or whatever it was. However, look, anybody watching the TV that night, so she was, for a while there actually, Romney was ahead in Ohio a little bit, and they called it for Obama. Anybody, citizen, would have perfect right to scratch his head and say, what's that all about? And so you then go and show Chris Sirewalt and all the rest of the team saying, look, here's what we think, here's what we think. And the fact that they were proven right shows that those people in that decision room knew what they were doing. I think that was a good behind-the-scenes look.
We had a phrase when I was working for NBC many moons ago that we want to be first, but more importantly, we want to be right. And I think that Karl Rove was exercising proper caution. Look at some of the past elections when the decision desks of various networks have been wrong. Jim mentioned 2000. What happens then? The media dump all over. Why are you projecting these things? Why are you doing this? Look at the voting still going on in California or in Alaska.
And there was speculation in 2000 that it may have affected the outcome of the election because people in the Western time zones had already heard.
And 1980, when the Carter people felt that people not voted in the Western time zones, and it didn't affect the election, but affected Senate races and House races out there. Sure, this is a standard thing. You can't win sometimes.
That's right.
And nobody seemed to be questioning the fact that George Stephanopoulos, a former press spokesman for Bill Clinton, is anchoring the coverage at ABC. Nobody seemed to be bothered by that.
Well, I wonder why.
Well, I don't really think it's quite the same thing. I mean, I think George Stephanopoulos has done a good job of transitioning into a reporter role. You know, I mean, Karl is quite clearly, I mean, he has a side, but that's the thing. He has a side. He's allowed to have a side. It's out in the open.
All right.